Hello everyone, welcome to the first and the last episode of Gingersmart. Today, we're going to talk about environmental racism. So, what is environmental racism? Environmental racism is a form of racism leading to landfills, incinerators, and dangerous wastes unfairly being disposed in communities of color. A practical example can be Aamjiwnaang's protest against carbon dioxide pollution. The Aamjiwnaang tribe has suffered from an unfair amount of disease caused by chemical pollution. 40% of Canada's petrochemical refineries are taking place in their lands. There have been efforts to fix this problem, such as the Environmental Committee formed in 2002, and the Aboriginal Partnership Resources Program agreement with the Nuclear Waste Management Organization in 2017 for a long-term management of used nuclear fuel, including the Deep Archive. So what caused this unfair carbon dioxide pollution? One reason can be the Haber process. The Haber process is a fundamental method to make large quantities of ammonia by combining nitrogen and hydrogen gas. Fritz Haber, the German chemist, invented this process by following Le Chatelier's law that the use of catalyst and the high pressure shifts the equilibrium to the right side and increases the formation of ammonia. So how do they do so? Step by step, nitrogen gas and hydrogen gas are introduced to the system in 1:3 ratio, then are compressed in 200 to 900 atmospheric pressure. Iron rods act as a catalyst and interact with these hot compressed gas and fastens the formation of ammonia. Then the condenser collects liquid ammonia at the bottom of the system. And finally the unused gas goes back to the beginning, so on and so forth. So why is this process important? The most famous production from this process is fertilizer. It exponentially increased the world population from 1.6 billion to 6 billion during the 20th century. This fertilizer is produced by using ammonium nitrate through the Haber process. Its advantage is that it promotes plant growth. However, nitrogen from fertilizers acidifies the soil and gets polluted to nearby rivers. This leads to a cycle where fertilizers help plants grow faster while the ammonia emission disrupts it and blocks sunlight into oceans, leading to a loss of biodiversity. Some fertilizers used for plants are washed away by rain and leaks to nature to disturb the ecosystem by excess nitrogen. And that was how the Haber process affects nature. Now let's look at how it affects human lives. The Haber process affects the lives of Aamjiwnaang by electricity consumption. The Haber process requires huge energy due to its need of high pressure and temperature to operate. And it is the First Nation people who have to carry that burden. Aamjiwnaang is also affected by greenhouse gas emission. Enormous amount of carbon dioxide gas is generated during the Haber process. This air pollution affects the Aamjiwnaang First Nations with certain cancers, respiratory diseases, and even higher rates of miscarriage. Industries are still using Indigenous lands as a garbage dump with the Canadian government's consent. This environmental destruction for their convenience are causing fatal air pollution and water pollution that destroys nature and threatens the lives of the First Nation. So what can we do to solve this conflict? It is important to empower the First Nation people by involving them in administration processes related to environmental policies. This kind of support will ensure that First Nations can have the resources and information needed to participate in environmental activities. Strengthening existing environmental regulations are also important to ensure that First Nations are equally protected from environmental hazards. It is also important to improve transparency and the sample size of information that relates to environmental impacts on the First Nations to avoid biases made up by those in power. Nonetheless, education is the key solution to this conflict, like how I got to know about the Aamjiwnaang tribe and their conflicts through a school project. Increasing awareness about environmental racism in schools can give a better understanding of social justice and environmental issues within the youth. Meanwhile, people are fastening global warming, the First Nations teach the symbiotic relationship with nature. In order for people to coexist with nature and natives, it is crucial for them to learn sustainable production and consumption from nature. And they need to learn from the Aamjiwnaang. Thank you for listening, the first and the last episode of Gingersmart. I was Ginger Brave Cookie. Good night.